Will the real president-elect please stand up? In just a matter of hours, the world's richest man burying what was a relatively inoffensive bipartisan bill to keep the government running in a mountain of disinformation, bringing the government to the edge of a shutdown and leading everyone to ask, who's in charge? Who's going to call the shots in Trump 2.0? A plan to fund the government filled with vital things like disaster aid and other items, things that have passed time and time again in Congress. A bill that was negotiated by Speaker Mike Johnson and the Democrats met its match in Elon Musk. Here's what happened, according to NBC's reporting. Quote, Musk posted to X about the funding bill more than 100 times over the course of the day. He repeatedly called the bill criminal and asked his followers to call their representatives. But he also posted memes, including one of him taking a sword to the bill and another referring to the Kill Bill films from director Quentin Tarantino. There were memes and primary threats and some outright flagrant disinformation. This from Politico, quote, Musk didn't seem to think a government shutdown would have significant consequences for the country. He responded yes to a post that read, just close down the government until January 20th. Defund everything. We will be fine for 33 days. The billionaire falsely claimed that members of Congress would get a 40% pay raise as part of the package, something both Musk and the X account for his so-called Department of Government Efficiency got wrong. Musk reposted a claim that the bill would provide $3 billion for a new NFL stadium in Washington. This is not true. The bill transfers control of the site of the existing RFK Stadium to the D.C. local government for redevelopment, which could potentially include a stadium. But the facts did not matter at this point to the House Republicans. When Elon Musk says jump, they asked how high. It was hours into the Musk-led rebellion against the bill when the man who is supposedly now leader of the Republican Party, that would be Donald Trump, finally weighed in. He issued a statement saying he now opposes Speaker Mike Johnson's plan. On that, the Times reports this, quote, on Thursday morning, Trump sought to reclaim control of the political debate for himself, issuing a threat of sorts to Johnson that he must not give in to Democrats as he tries to find a way to keep the government operating without incurring the wrath of Musk. Today, Republicans went back to the drawing board, and in just the last hour, a member announced that they have an agreement on keeping the government up and running, but it remains to be seen if their master, Elon Musk, will approve of this one. And all this chaos, all the memes and primary threats and mean tweets bullying lawmakers into submission could very well be instructive, could very well be our first preview of what the next 4 years will be like. Here's former Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger.
Look, President Musk this morning made it clear with all his vast government experience, which is basically he became rich on the federal government, that he doesn't want Republicans to pass this. And seemingly Vice President Trump kind of backed him up then at that point. And what it says about the politics is this is going to be a messy 4 years.
It's where we start today with some of our favorite reporters and friends. NBC News correspondent Vaughn Hilliard is back for us. He's still in West Palm Beach. Also joining us, publisher of The Bulwark, host of the Focus Group podcast, political strategist Sarah Longwell is here. And joining me at the table, former congressman from Florida, MSNBC political analyst David Jolly's here. Vaughn Hilliard, I am a student of patterns, and the pattern is that when someone near Trump looks more likely to be named the next time person of the year than Trump himself, that person is sometimes cast off the island. Is Musk anywhere near that kind of danger at this point, since he seems to be running Washington?
And the part is for Donald Trump that person that we're talking about is somebody who is wealthier than he is, and somebody who has a greater number of companies, and arguably somebody who has a larger footprint on his own social media platform is bigger than Donald Trump's. Elon Musk hasn't been pushed away here at this point, but I got to go back. I remember sitting on the side of the road in my car back covering the midterms back in 2022, Nicole, when there were tweets that were going out in real time between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. At the time, Elon Musk was saying how he had never voted for a Republican in his life, until 2022. So this is not somebody who is steeped in conservative politics, yet now House Republicans are essentially deciding on budgets based off of his social media posts. But at the time, it was Elon Musk that was saying that Donald Trump should, in his own words, sail off into the sunset, and that an 82-year-old should not be president of the United States. And in return, it was Donald Trump who was, on his social media account, was suggesting that Elon Musk would come into the White House, into the Oval Office in his first term, and would ultimately, if he told him to, would go onto his knees. He would say, quote, when Elon Musk came to the White House asking me for help on all of his many subsidized projects, whether it's electric cars that don't drive long enough, driverless cars that crash, or rocket ships to nowhere, without which subsidies he'd be worthless, in telling me how he was a big Trump fan and a Republican, I could have said, drop to your knees and beg, and he would have done it. He went on to call him a BS artist. Those are words about Donald Trump, about Elon Musk, the now man who he is essentially held up as a proxy of his on social media at a moment in time before he's even president. But it's really quite stunning to watch him, I guess, cede so much power to somebody who he clearly didn't have much trust in just 24 months ago.
I mean, Sarah Longwell, for someone for whom all of the mythology is faux strength, but strength at any cost, he looks like he is clearly now publicly being led around by the nose by Elon Musk.
Yeah, look, I don't know. I don't like to get into the psychology of Donald Trump because Donald Trump's mind seems like a very dangerous place to try to get into. And so, look, all I can say is I think it seems like this is how he wants it. He likes having sort of Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk out there as his enforcers with Congress. And it feels like already Donald Trump's been sort of weirdly quiet as these things have played out. And it feels like, look, I think Donald Trump ran to stay out of jail. I think that's why he did it. Donald Trump doesn't care about the American people. He doesn't care about running the American government. And so right now, I think he's just set up his own reality show. And I think it seems like he's kicking back and watching how it plays out. And he's letting these other guys do his dirty work. And right now, I think this shutdown is interesting, or the potential shutdown, because I think that Donald Trump thinks that they can do this now without him being Donald Trump, catching like having to take responsibility for it. He thinks Joe Biden will end up having to take responsibility for it. And so I think it's him sort of laying down a marker of these are my guys who are going to be running things. Everybody get used to it. But he feels like it, it won't sort of ricochet back on him because he's not president yet. But I will say there is something, I don't know exactly what the word would be. There's something about watching Republicans who have empowered Elon Musk, RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, Donald Trump, all people who, by the way, 10 years ago were Democrats, and in some cases much more recently were Democrats. It's interesting watching Republicans having emboldened and embraced all of these characters, only to have these characters turn around and make it 100% impossible for them to govern.
Well, not just impossible for them to govern, but I think what Sarah just described is a phenomenon you and I were sort of canaries in the coal mine been talking about since the primary 2015, that the Republican Party's embrace of Trump has nothing to do with Republican things. It has nothing to do with conservatism. Yeah. And to Sarah's point, the turning over of the levers, and now they control all the levers of power, the Republican Party, ostensibly, but to turn over the House to Musk and Ramaswamy, and to ask the Senate, also controlled by Republicans, to confirm RFK and Tulsi. It is a remarkable sort of abandoning of the party.
It's wild. I mean, so part of what we're seeing today is the asymmetry between money and democracy. I mean, Elon Musk is a billionaire bully, and he's pulling that off. But what we're also seeing is an exercise in ignorance, because nothing that Elon Musk thinks he's fighting for is actually real. And the other piece of this is, this was not a fight they needed to pick. this would have sailed through. Republicans on Capitol Hill would have had their angst and anxiety about it. But the truth is, Hakeem Jeffries and Democrats, in moments where governing was required, have done that in the last 2 years. He's led the coalition, be it on funding for Ukraine, raising the debt ceiling, keeping the government open a year ago. Democrats would have provided votes again this time. Everybody would have had a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. Elon Musk and Donald Trump decided to pick this fight, and now it is not. I agree with Sarah's analysis about Donald Trump, but I also think Donald Trump's analysis is actually wrong. Yeah. Joe Biden doesn't bear any blame for this. This was going to sail through. The government was going to stay open. Trump and Musk, Trump and his two Doges, chose to pick this fight, and they're going to lose this fight. And so the question is, how do you get out of it now? The biggest chess move of all starts with Hakeem Jeffries, because does he deliver his caucus? Does he deliver a single vote for this? If he doesn't, there's no way out of this for Republicans, and Joe Biden's not going to get blamed for it. Donald Trump and Elon Musk will.